This is my project pitch for World of Foods, which is a cooking show that I'm going to make where I explore different foods and food cultures. I want to educate people and inspire people to try different foods, whether it's just looking at them or actually learning how to make them and learning about them. In this presentation, I'm going to go through reasoning, so why I wanted to do this in the first place, the opportunity I want to do, so like what gap this is going to fill, the scope, so what I'm kind of aiming for and what I need to do this, target audience, who I'm aiming for, who is going to be watching, what do they kind of want. Then I'm going to also cover constraints, so what's kind of in my way, like what kind of limits what I can do. And then assumptions, so how stuff I think is going to go. And then resources, so what I need to do this. And then the conditions for me to consider this a success. For reasoning, when I joined Global, I really liked baking and watching cooking shows with my mum. I really want to make my own show. So my inspiration is going to come from the shows I watched growing up. And I want to create a show that explores the different ingredients in lots of different dishes, and I want to learn more about them and where they came from. I think this will be fun, exciting for me first of all, but also that will translate to people who watch it. So through this, we'll be able to look closely at different ingredients and learn how they work and what they can be used to make, from like different spices, herbs, to foods like, for example, chocolate, which I'm going to be covering. So this will be if someone loves cooking and wants to learn more about ingredients, this is for them. So over the past few years, the rise of social media has changed the way we consume different foods, especially online. It's more visual as well as just making them. So with platforms like Instagram and TikTok, it's easier than ever to discover new and exciting dishes from everywhere. With COVID, this has definitely been just exploded, which has led to more people taking up cooking as a hobby and exploring different recipes online. If you remember, especially like banana bread during COVID. Whether it's out of like necessity or boredom, people are looking for interesting ways to spend their time at home. If you're someone who's picked up cooking as a hobby or just enjoys looking at different foods, or like you're just curious, then this is kind of what we're aiming for. So my show is designed to showcase the food that looks good and tastes good from all around the world. I'm going to focus on dishes that aren't commonly found in English-speaking countries. So, for example, Eastern foods, stuff from South America, Africa, Caribbean, just stuff that wouldn't necessarily be seen on your typical English-based cooking show. So no roasts, nothing like that, because I want to broaden like people think about food and inspire them to try new things in the kitchen. So whether someone's cooked a lot or just curious and wanted to try something, they can watch this and learn something. I plan to film most of this while I'm on holiday using my phone, because the camera I have access to belongs to my school and I can't take that out of the country. So phone, which is pretty good, because most cameras these days, especially non-professional ones, are very similar to phones. So my phone is also more portable and just easier to bring around. Also shows, because you see a lot of things filmed with phones and there's special courses. I know Canon does one and other places do ones, so you can film stuff with your phone, and that's also something I can prove. It also means that it's easier to have stuff for YouTube, Instagram Reels, and TikTok, so that's something that's also makes it easier. As a cooking show, you kind of need to have the right target audience, and I think that under 35s, just as a wider group, is good for me because they're more likely to be using social media. But I think that under 25s are the audience I can best connect to, so those are going to be my more focused target audience. Under 25s spend a lot of time on social media, especially the kind of sites that I want to promote myself on, so Instagram, YouTube, TikTok especially, and especially women. On these platforms, under 25s, there's a lot more women use them for a lot more time. So along with my first episode being about chocolate, which is more appealing to women, I am going to capitalize on that. So my constraints. This is something that I think will be difficult, but my biggest hurdle here is time. I'd love to spend a couple of weeks planning and researching my audience and content, but I don't have that time. So I need to focus on filming and editing, which for me is very time consuming because I find that difficult. On top of that, I'm limited in the equipment I can use to film, as I'm filming overseas. I can't bring all that with me. so that can limit the quality of my footage. Despite this, I think I can still deliver a project that meets my standards, and I'm going to use creativity to kind of bridge the gaps that this might create. I'm assuming that I'm going to have access to all the equipment I need, or that I've planned I will have. So my phone, a radio room for voiceovers at school, and my computer. I'm also assuming that the equipment will work not necessarily perfectly, but well enough for my project to be created and not break, or otherwise just not work. During the filming, I'm hoping to get all the shots I need, and there won't be unexpected issues that will prevent me from filming. I'm also assuming weather will work in my favour at least somewhat, let me get really good shots. For my schedule, I'm hoping that everything goes loosely according to plan, and I can stay within a reasonable time frame with some allowance for unexpected delays. I have a contingency in my time frame. The resources I need: my computer I mentioned earlier, my phone, for planning and research, stationery, so pens, pencils, notebook. I will need Premiere Pro for editing. Microsoft 365 is useful for, again, planning, presenting, just general admin kind of work, same with email. And I think the most valuable resource that I will need is people. Whether it's like a target audience, I need a focus group, I need people to help me film, and I need people to help me give feedback so I can make my show better. I think I'm going to measure the success of my show in 2 ways: impressions and how closely it aligns to my original vision. For impressions, my target audience is 40 views, 25 likes, 7 subscribers or followers, and more than 3 comments. Achieving these numbers will show that my premise has some merit and the audience does engage with my content, which means that I can perhaps continue on with the series in the future. Thanks for listening.